Hello, welcome to another one of my check-in videos for my reading project for the year, which is reading through Brian Eno's diary from 1995, which was published in 1996. A year with swollen appendices. And so I'm working through this day by day, sort of matching up with the days in the diary with the days as they run through this year. So I've just completed August's entries in the diary, and as I do in all these videos, I'm just going to reflect on the sort of things that were mentioned, just to pick out a few things. It's interesting actually, so far I find it fairly easy to follow where he actually is geographically up till now, but this is the first month where I've actually had problems working out where he might be, because it does appear in August he was travelling to and fro various places, both independently and with his family and with members of U2 and with other people as well. So I sort of lost, like I say, geographically where he was. Probably not that important, but it was interesting sort of trying to tie up certain projects and work out where they may have been going on, because there's quite a few different things going on, and I'll just touch on a few of them. So again, there's still, even though when you look on Wikipedia it says it was recorded from November 94 to 95, clearly there's sort of post-recording things happening where he's, still hanging out with U2 in various capacities. So this is very much still, featured quite heavily in the diary, this particular album, which was, a collaboration between him and U2, but also had additional people involved, additional guest musicians, which is why it's not called, U2 with Brian Eno or whatever else it could be called, but they gave it the name Passengers as a side project. The other thing that's coming up, and is tied very much with his work with the War Child charity, particularly at that time with what was going on in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And although this isn't being recorded yet, you can tell he's obviously involved in the preparation for this, or he's sort of talking about it. So this particular project, my understanding is that, and according to the Wikipedia article, all of the songs that feature in here by all the different bands were recorded in a single day, and that was on the 4th of September, so the next month in the diary. But clearly, there's stuff in progress in preparation for that. And I include a link to this because it's difficult to describe exactly what's going on here. There's lots of interesting stuff included in the album. There's also a booklet, I think, that goes with it as well. And various interesting collaborations for lots of different reasons, like people appear, bands appearing. Where you have the first recording that the Manic Street Preachers did after Richie Edwards disappeared, and they did a cover of Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. So well worth checking out, and I'll include a link to that. Also, he's talking on and off about updating the Oblique strategies card, or mentions like new Oblique strategies, and I wasn't sure about the context of this, because when you look at the additions and variations, it does say there was a fourth edition produced in 96 or the following year, but produced by the Peter Norton family with the blessing of Brian Eno as Christmas gifts for his friends and colleagues, so not for commercial sale. Now, if you look at the origin and the history, so I'll include a link to this. So you've got, originally he was involved with the project with Peter Smith, that's the best way to put this. Yeah, they combined the two projects they were working on that were very similar, and Smith died in 1980, and then what happened was, as you can see here, Peter Norton convinced Eno to let him create a fourth edition. And it does actually mention Eno's decision to revisit the cards and his collaboration with Norton in revising them is described in detail in his 1996 book, A Year with Swollen Appendices. Well, the point I'm at, in August, seems to be like in the diary throwing out ideas for additional Oblique strategy cards. So I don't know whether later in the book it's going to get into more of the collaboration with Peter Norton or not. But certainly I found, up till now there was the odd mention of Oblique strategies, but definitely in August it gets mentioned multiple times in the diary. The other thing, in all the toing and froing, it mentions a trip to Nice, period it spent in Nice, and then travel into Monaco. And I must admit, my geography is not great in some instances, and I knew Monaco was very close to France, bordering on France, but I didn't know that the Principality of Monaco is actually just 13 kilometres from Nice. And Monaco, if you're not familiar with it, is this sort of sovereign city-state, microstate on the French Riviera. And it's sandwiched, you can see sort of it's sandwiched here between, this would be France and this would be Italy. I don't know if there's a better, oh look, maps of the French annexation, 1860, the Kingdom of Sardinia. So there we go. So yeah, interesting place to read about. Most expensive and wealthiest places in the world. Now I'm trying to remember if this is the place where, so their economy has the world's highest GDP. And its main, so there's a number of casinos there, major banking centre. A lot of privacy and other things going on. It isn't actually a member of the European Union. But I always got the impression when I first heard about Monaco that it was a lot of gambling, casino gambling there. Yeah, so there's no income tax on individuals. It does have VAT and social insurance taxes, but no income tax. So it attracts this, this thing as a tax refuge. Now, this doesn't come up so much, if at all, in the diary, but I just thought I'd mention it. So I'll include a link to that because it is a interesting place. Although I'm not very good on geography, I am fascinated by these, smaller countries and how they manage to actually exist financially, and what sort of what services do they provide, or what stuff do they produce? Because when you look at some of their GDPs, it often defies logic if they're not sort of growing anything. So there must be something, tourism-wise, or it must be a central banking or some other financial machinations going on. In terms of general things that were happening around this time, so if we look down here, this is the Wikipedia article for video games. So I remember this at the time coming out. I didn't buy it till a little bit later, Command and Conquer. Heroes of Might and Magic, wow, yeah. Super Mario World. Comics Zone. Films, yeah, Babe. Anything else I recognise here? Oh, Mortal Kombat. Yeah. I haven't seen Mortal Kombat, but I remember seeing Babe on the TV when eventually it went to TV. I don't recognise any of these actually, no. I never saw any of these either at the cinema or on TV. Interesting. 95 in music. So, debut AFI album, 1995. Compilation by Pet Shop Boys. There are so many Pet Shop Boys compilations and remix albums. Rocket from the Crypt, what were they up to by then? Third album. Saxon Dogs of War. Anything here that I actually played at the time? Yeah, this one I bought retrospectively, and Out Comes the Wolves, not probably to the 2000s. Gathering I didn't get into until 98, I think. Was it How to Measure a Planet? I think that came out in what? Not sure if that was 96 or 97, or maybe a little bit later actually. Fifth album, never listened to that. Yeah, interesting. I didn't really listen to much this month, either at the time or retrospectively. Interesting. Yeah, apart from really that. I don't know if I have a copy of this or not. I can't remember if I infilled any AFI stuff, because I think I got into them around the time of Black Sails. So when would that be? Yeah, 99. So I basically have that one on CD and that one. I think my wife owns a copy of that. I don't think I have a copy. Yeah, so, well, not much really there. Not much that really interests me. I think, yeah, whatever in there that interests me, I'll add to my usual playlist. British music wise, what have we got? Oh, this big thing, yeah, the Country House Roll With It competition. Yeah, the Battle of Britpop. Okay, see if I remember anything from the chart. So this is the start of the month, the first chart, singles chart from the start of the month. Oh yeah, I remember these being played on the radio a lot. Shaggy, who I went to see a couple of months ago at the Halifax Jazz Festival. Girl Like You by Edwyn Collins. Oh, of course. Yeah, Blue Monday 95 and Paninaro 95 by the Pet Shop Boys. I wonder if that was included on that compilation album. Probably then. Therapy had a single out. Oh, Trouble by Shampoo, yeah, I remember that. And Common People going down the charts. Towards the end of the month, let's just jump ahead a little bit, see what we can see. So August 30th. I don't like this redesign of this website. It's incredibly slow and clunky now. I don't know if it's the ads or what's doing it, but it's really weird. Oh, there's Country House by Blur, number 1. Roll With It by Oasis, number 2. There we go. I'll Be There For You by Rembrandt. So that's the theme tune from Friends. Kiss from a Rose. Just by Radiohead. So yeah, I got better remembering of the singles simply because they were playing in the office probably when I worked at the time than I have of the albums that were being released. And then come on, you know you want to. There we go. So this is the albums. So of course most of these have been released earlier, the previous month or months before that. Wow, that's a pretty cool album chart. Towards the end of August. Yeah, Black Grape were doing well at that period. It's interesting, isn't it? You've got, this mixture of Britpop and bands that were part of bands that are spin-offs from the original Manchester scene as well. Cool. So as I've said, I'll update all my playlists on Spotify if anybody's still going through those. I will keep them up to date. Just add in, the ones for 95 that I've sort of touched on from August. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.